Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Usually when I start my presentations, I start with the words honor and respect. So when I say honor, please say respect. Honor.
Respect.
Honor.
Respect.
Honor.
Respect.
Able. First, thank you once again for inviting me here.
Thank you once again for saying yes when I invited you.
And I want to greet my illustrious brothers and sisters, and to see once again an old friend, good friend, Silva, Mondesire, and Iyalaxé, and to bring special greetings and a warm welcome to an unexpected guest here, but he's my very, very special guest. He's a little bit more than that. And that is His Majesty Dada Dòwòti II, who is the Supreme Spiritual Chief of Voodoo and King of the Oceans and Seas, and is one of the leading authorities on voodoo globally. And while he won't be speaking on panel today, he will say a few words of prayer for us at the end of the presentations. I am Manbo, which is a high priest in Haitian voodoo. I've been a priest for 22 years. The nature of the crown that I wear is one that you're not allowed to wear until much later on in your life. We required some maturity and hopefully some wisdom. So I'd like to think I've done a little bit of that during this time. But I wanted to start with just a presentation of just a little piece of what it is from my perspective. Because I understand later on today we're going to, and what's the only one to come to?
You're more than welcome. We're taking this away.
Take
So
a
there's
sip.
plenty of room. Well, I figured we didn't want to show up with like a giant tour bus in front of his house.
That's what I was hoping for. Well, my presentation is going to focus on what I met who is one of the Rwanda. And when I was part of the Interfaith Center's Civic Leadership Academy, which was a wonderful experience that I had last year, people for that. We were asked to do a project that focused on how our faith practices manifest themselves in New York. So I want to share a little bit of that with you today. But first, I want to start with an image or a series of images that we see commonly. The movement of people impacts memory and the emotions that we have associated with places that either we leave behind, that we flee to, that we voluntarily enter and otherwise occupy. And in the case of Haitian voodoo in particular, our popular imaginations have been running wild with images of zombies, goat heads, chicken bones, and other things, leading to some really, not just misconceptions of voodoo as an eco-theological liberation-based theology, but it has also led to economic disparities, it's led to Afrophobia, it's led to all sorts of things that have been problematic and oppressing people of African descent for hundreds of years since we arrived in the Americas. But voodoo actually means to be fully immersed in the search for peace. It means to be passionately committed to securing balance for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your nation. And yet, in spite of that, fear is how and where voodoo is situated in our imaginations. And it is, as I said earlier, it has impacted an overwhelming number of people of African descent in a negative way. And the nature of psychic violence and psychosocial violence isn't just that it oppresses those who it is intended to hurt, it also ends up oppressing and hurting those who are inflicting. Okay? Because in the process of dehumanizing or debasing someone, you end up dehumanizing and debasing yourself. And so this has been an ongoing struggle, again, faced by not just voodoo practitioners, but all African-based traditions. I'm sure someone here will talk about the nature of oppression in Brazil against the Candomblé community. We in the voodoo community globally, but particularly in Haiti, have known about this. Unfortunately, we're experts at combating this matter. But because media has impressed us through pulp fiction, through films and television, as it has really impacted our reading of African epistemology and religion. And it's gone from the sinister to the sexy and mysterious, as embodied in the late Jeffrey Holder as the Roi Bamosandi, to the very top in one of James Bond movies, Live and Let Die, to Angela Bassett in American Horror Story. You will never see a real Haitian priestess, at least not a Haitian voodoo priestess, with her arms exposed. So, these images really create an impression of us that it does a service to our communities, and our communities number in the millions. There are some 150 million people who are practitioners of African-based traditional faiths, and our faiths are steeped in collective engagement, in upliftment and support of our communities. We're deeply tied to the sciences of the natural world, and what makes Haitian voodoo distinct from other forms of African-based religions is its inherently Pan-African sensibilities. My personal journey has taken me from the confusion of a young child who arrived here at 6 years old and didn't understand why her culture and her people were being spat upon and disdained, to I was an agnostic, I was an atheist, I ended up being a priest, and in January 2019, found myself literally at the center of the International Festival of Voodoo that takes place in Benin every year for well over 25 years. And here I'm standing with His Majesty the King of Alada, Budekbe, and His Majesty Dada Bohuno. So my journey has been a long and interesting one. I just want to show images of voodoo in motion, because part of what has created these misconceptions is the movement of people, as I said. But our tradition is a dynamic one with very distinct aesthetic, and these are images taken in Benin Republic and Haiti. They do provide a sense of ritual in two different spaces in the world, but we really don't have to go to places abroad to understand what voodoo looks like, what its beauty is, what its power is. We can look in our own laku, we can look at our own backyards. And here, I'm showing a slide of the opening salutations for the Agwe ceremony that has been taking place every year on East Beach in Long Island since, I'd say 2015. So we see two Manbo. Manbo are the name for priests who are saluting each other. So the heads touching, and they're getting ready to salute the Roi, getting ready to salute the spirit is being seen. In this image that is taking place under a tent outdoors, the four corners of the world are being acknowledged. And in this case, they're saluting the Makasa, which are the twins. And and respect the dual aspect of our existence. In every ceremony, each Lwa is greeted, so we go through the broader pantheon of spirits to acknowledge their presence. In this particular case, it's Loko who's being acknowledged, even though it is a ceremony for Agwe. It doesn't matter what ceremony, who is the principal Lwa being served, we recognize and salute all of them. And each Lwa has a very distinct set of colors associated with it, foods, drinks, behaviors, and in this case, as I said, it's Loko, and it is the divine force that represents the highest element of our being. This is my back. This is the beginning of a veve that is being traced on sand. The veve in this case is being traced with corn powder. The veve are visual images, they're markers, they are, I think of them as a text that, a text message. Any emoji to the block. That we recognize them, that we're here, that we've made a space for them. So it helps to consecrate the space, but it is also a form of meditation. It is a form of prayer when the priest, be they Manbo or Uga, which are the male priests, whoever is tracing the veve, it is again a meditative act, similar to the mandalas and the sand paintings that are done on other traditions. So this is the beginning of the Agwe piece, and you see it's a ship. The ship is relevant to us because of our relationship to the transatlantic slave trade. Forced migration of Africans from the African continent to the Americas, but also the nomadic movement, metaphysical movement that has been made to also recreate and reestablish the Africa in the Americas. Our next image is just some of the things that one might encounter, the objects, sacred objects one might encounter on an altar. And various things are here to speak to the needs of various Lwa. We have these libation bottles. One at the far end is for Agwe, you can see the ship. Another one is for Esri Gantor, the heart shape that is there. There's one in the back with a little flag, and you might see, looks like a knife or a sword actually for Ogun. This one back here is for Boisu Tuaton, which is like a bull with horns, one of our patrons. There are mirrors for various Lwa. Agwe do use mirrors, the asson, the gourd that is beaded, that is a symbol of authority for voodoo priests. Honey as offerings, the conch shell to call Agwe, various foods on the table, perfume for those who need that, and the crutch for one of the Lwa who may also need that if he comes or she comes down. Again, an example of food that is laid on the table. So each Lwa has a distinct food, has a distinct libation. And you go to any voodoo temple, anywhere in the world, you will find a babalu drum. It is, for a long time I couldn't understand why is there so much rum everywhere. Why don't people get drunk using it? But the rum is used. It is a product of our labor. It is a product of that lung splintering work that is done. When you take a machete and you strike it down, the skin of the sugar cane, it's just spiders everywhere. It's suffocating in the heat. But it is also a reminder of Ogun's presence in our lives, that of Ide's presence, because we struggle as well. But Ogun clears the way and cuts down and removes obstacles in our path so that we're able to do other things. So the bubble which is the rum rather, which becomes an outcome of one of the byproducts of the sugarcane, is something that is used in the ceremony to acknowledge Ogun, but it also does have medicinal purposes. If you are singing, for instance, you do need the rum to soothe and warm your vocal cords and stay loose that way. So there are medicinal purposes there in addition to symbolic things. I wanted to show some of the guests who were at the beach, just to show you that, in fact, voodoo isn't all about hiding out in basements in the United States, and or maybe hanging out in somebody's living room. While we are in the process of trying to found and establish formal temples, and you were maybe visiting, we will be visiting a space. It is a home. It isn't a basement, but it has been designed in such a way so that it resembles as much as possible a temple. But that this particular ceremony takes place outdoors is a wonderful thing, because it is about the transparency and the openness of voodoo and anybody's ability to participate in there, from young to old, Latino, Anglos, African descendants, they're all there. Here is part of a procession. This is a photograph of me as part of a procession where we're taking our flags down to the ocean itself to make offerings to where we're singing in prayer in procession going there. Here is an example, a photograph of a priestess being mounted by Agwe, and you see Uga and Manbo, who are helping to receive the presence of this particular Wa, again, who's associated with the oceans and the seas, and the upper level of the oceans and the seas. And you'll notice an offering, or offerings being carried by one of our visitors. She's a priest yet, but offerings being made to the ocean. And this is, sort of a more dramatic scene of a Manbo who's fully mounted by the owner of the seas. She receives the spirit of Agwe and is being held and protected by other priests. And a very intense and dynamic scene. So we're actually in the water when this is happening, and so to avoid being swept away oneself, we have to work in community and acknowledge the reverence of the moment, the potential dangers that are there, but it carries that understanding that our ancestors who made this journey, we survived it. And there's something to be said for that. And it is in this understanding that, you see a photo of me here in a moment of solitude and prayer for myself. I'm moved by the miracle of the lives of my community, that our ancestors made this harrowing 3-month journey across the Atlantic from the African coast, that we survived, again, this tragedy, this Holocaust, this Ma'afa, and we recreated space for ourselves. We sanctified space. We made space sacred again in our new homelands in Haiti. But voodoo is also found in Cuba. It's found in Puerto Rico. It's found in Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, Brazil. Here in the United States, whether the name is Hoodoo or Duga or Obia or Dòwòti, Shango Baptist, Candomblé, Mayombe, they're all manifestations of this bigger body of traditions. So we survived this. And that, in this photo, I wrote as a caption that that we face adversity every day in the U.S. And elsewhere. We face it every day, but we still remember our experiences in prayer and faith. That we might love and give thanks to the One who uplift our being as we uphold them in our hearts and deeds on this side of the Atlantic. It is a holy moment because my tears are now joined with theirs in this mass of salt and foam known as Reese Beach. And I think that's the end of my slide. Yes.
Nice to think of that as the roar of the sea rather than just. Iyalaxé, thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful presentation. As I always say, I'm going to be brief. I don't have any video. I don't have any, I say this beautiful to have a vision because you can see, you can actually contact yourself or connect yourself with what she showed, what the others want to show. But unfortunately, I lived in New York for, I'm in America almost 30 years. I came from Brazil to teach a workshop in UCLA, and then I stayed. I was working for Jorge Amado Foundation, there's a writer that wrote Dona Flor's two husband. I was working for his foundation. And I had 2 vacations, and my boss said, Rita, you need to take this. You only, Latin America is 1 month, you go on vacation. I had 2 months. I said, no, I'm holding for 3, because I used to travel a lot. But I stayed by here for a long time, political tourists, no money for travel, and then I said, no, I had to go. It's the spirit to call me that God gave 2 feet, walking forward. God, 2 feet looking forward. We cannot walk forward. So from that, I'm briefly give it just to see how energy, cosmic energy, take you to places, to people in the right time. Because I never knew that I'm going to be in the cycle that I'm here, stay 6 months here, 6 months in Brazil. That I would be here sitting down with a go for all of you, all of you, Mare, Oya Detaya Kalayana so, Mojuba, Mojuba Motion Funke, Mojuba Motion Boni, Mojuba Go, La Jolie, Mojuba Motion Boy Balashe, Mojuba Go Barei, Mojuba Go Chaneta, Mojuba Go, Oxo, Mojuba Go, Obatalá, Oxalá, Mojuba Go a todos os hereis e crianças na face da terra, a Mojuba pelo dia de hoje. Mande a luz. I just very briefly be a child as we be imposed by our environment. We all, no matter where we come from, we pushing to go out of our nature, mostly what I felt. Because what happened, my great-grandfather was a slave, and my great-grandmother that I met, that passed away in 100, she made sure to tell us where they came from. So I don't want to say what a privilege be Brazilian, black Brazilian, or privilege not to be. What I want to say that the cosmic energy put my ancestors to Brazil. That's what they came from. And for that, I say that Brazil is very strong in African tradition. Who have in Brazil, doing search or just for tourists, you can get in a place called Bahia, where I come from, where Brazil really starts. It's called Salvador Bahia, B-A-H-I-A. It's called Bahia. It's the Yoruba tradition, the Gola tradition, the Jeju tradition. It was rooted. It was not easy to keep and to have what we have today. So I thank my ancestors, Ascabo, and thank them to be able to be here now speak a little bit about, and with the respect and the love that we have for our culture. So for that, I say that my grandmother, my great-grandparents, to my grandmother, to us, they all received spiritual education, all of them. But as imposed by the not be against any religion, but imposed. We're just supposed to forget and to let go our beliefs. But something happened in this city called, this state called Bahia, this country called Brazil, that the culture is strong. Catholic and African traditions almost the same levels. We talk about take away all the things of the human being separation. In the spirit conception, we are very strong. Because right now as we speak, we be very pushed by to let us out again, as the Protestants. You know, it's a big problem in Brazil, it's a big problem. They are pushing for us to let it go, but it's not gonna happen. You know, as I begin to say, there's energy, the cosmic energy that put people in place in the moment. That's called nature. And we Orish is nature. Orish is nature. It's a water, it's ocean. It's the sea water, it's the road, it's Ogun. So water is in a very brief way that you all go on and try to do your own research. And no, we cannot live without nature. So what's going on from the beginning with the mistake? Try to avoid nature and be where we are now. Or this world of technology and push us really far away from nature. So in this speech that we can hear, discuss the whole day. It's going to be a conversation for the whole year. Even it's not going to be enough. This is just a little brief, little thought for each one of us who wants to think about. We be pushing by one more time to be away from nature. And for us, it's Orisha. But the cosmic energy, as Oloriwaa, as Fatala, we are strong. Why? Because we believe in nature life. If I don't drink water every day, come on, we all know. I'm gonna be without water. Our body is 79% water every day. Cells dying, everything die. The mother cannot have a baby. If the water don't come, let the baby float for 9 months in the water. It's simple like that, very simple. We don't need to go so far away with so much understand about this. And it's simple. The problem is that we confuse ourselves. We allow ourselves to be confused, actually. Because if you're in place, if you get up every day, put your feet on the ground, say, you know, well, really I'm here. I'm pushing by to be this person, or I'm going to find my way. And that's the other problem. I'm a yoga teacher, talk about why? Because I think that every spirituality, I take away the name religion, sorry, because religion sometimes separates us. See, Catholics separate from the Africa, no. Spirituality. If you believe that we need all the elements of nature to survive, I'm gonna believe there is Oxóssi, the god of hunting, bring the food for the table, the prosperity god. I'm gonna believe that Oxum provides fertility to have a baby, because water first, baby after. Simple like that. Thank you. If you don't drink water in your life, if you don't eat the food that has minerals, vitamins, what is that? It's vitality. It's force. It's vitality. And we lost the other conception here that is saying, I think you to put this together. You be guide. We believe that spirit to guide us every single moment. For us to be able to speak a little bit about nature, to bring us back to nature, because we in a most danger time in this planet. The technology is put us away. We need the young people to believe that nature is alive. Because we all here in our ages, we can be very smart, say, well, yeah. But how about the young? How about this new generation? They're going to believe that they need to drink water. They're going to believe they need to eat. They're going to believe that if we don't have, just very simple. In a Catholic church, they use baptism. They use water, they use salt. Oh, is salt in water there? Salt water. Water is the ocean sweet water. There is a story that legend that say Iemanjá, the god of all the water in the planet. She's the most She came, she said, well, we need life in this, we need life. So Batalá called Oxalá to make the shape of the human being body. And Batalá was trying to do his art to make the head Ori. And Iemanjá said, well, having said twice, in the Oloriwaa down, the shape it doesn't look good. Go back and try to make it shape it like, no, I'm good at it. I'm good at it. So, Batalá come down again, this is like, oh my God, what am I going to do? He said, gosh, Iemanjá, I said, what? He said, I took already to ask the Oloriwaa. He said, your head is not perfect. She said, give it to me. And she's there, and it's beautiful. And I said, now take. And then he looked, and he said, oh my God. Excellent, beautiful. Will, you fixed really well. So I need to be honest, I didn't. It was not me, it was Iemanjá. He said, so what is Iemanjá? So from this day on, you're gonna go back to earth. I'm gonna put the breath of life, but who's going to warm the head is Iemanjá. She made it happen. So Iemanjá is the mother of the ocean. You know that the most water we have in this planet is the sea. Makes a lot of sense for us. And Iemanjá, she said, well, but I need to bring more life in this plant. So what she did, she called Oshun, that the god of the honey, the sweet, the mother, the beautiful mother that had the fertility, give us women a possibility to have a baby, the water, and say to Oshun, we need more kids, we need more life in this planet. Can you sweet the water to make life? And Oshun sweet the water. So that's why we drink this water. And you go home after a whole day, you can tell me if this is not right. You don't have a lot to understand. Take a good shower and see how you feel after. I prayed, then the water touched my body, so Oshun think more to pay Oshun to have water every day. And that's what happened. I have to say, I'm not a PhD person. I have life experience because I went in the road when I was 16 years old. See my auntie at home receive the native India caboclo that we mix in Brazil. They separate the nations. There's Queto, Angola, and Jeje. But in the end, when they had a ceremony for Xexé, that, all the three dogs come together and they celebrated it. That's proof that we was made to separate, but we are only one word, only one Ashe. Only one Ashe, only one vitality. And God made we all the same. So in my only message that I would like to leave it today here, with all the respect we need. If you don't have respect and love, we don't go anywhere. So all teachers here today, the only thing that I really appreciate, I have been teaching dance for many years, and all my message for people is that open the heart and take away all the little things. Life is very simple, but the word is very clear. You can see through. If you can see through, we made a big things here. So thank you so much.
Stretch, y'all. I know. It's a lot, right? I know it's a lot. Okay, I just sent you a link for a video.
Oh, all right.
Okay. And that should be pretty easy to set up. Good morning or good afternoon. Nope, not yet. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Iyalorisha. I'm Oloriwaa. I am a priest of Dòwòti. I was initiated in the Bronx 36 years ago. I have been on this journey much longer than those 36 years. You know, when I came into the world, I think that they say that we pick our destinies before we're even born, and I think I'm a bit of a testament to that. And the reason that I say that is because I was raised a very nice, innocent Catholic girl. My Catholic sister over here. And I knew that there was something about me that was different than all of my other friends. I was very drawn to church. I was in church all the time. I was an altar girl. I just needed to be in church. And I said to my mother one day, I said, "Mommy, I think that I'm going to be a nun." And my mother said, "Well, do you know what nun means?" Yeah. Come on, y'all, get the joke. Get the joke. And when she explained to me that it would mean that I would not have children, I would not get married, I would not do these things that all of my friends, you know, and I talked about all this time, I said, well, then there has to be something, because there's something here, and I don't know what it is. But there's nothing in the Catholic Church that is answering this call that I'm feeling, this draw that I'm feeling. And it wasn't until I was about 12 years old and we moved to a new development that I met a young man who was the son of the directors of an African dance company. And I always wanted to dance, and I had gone to ALE, and I was taking classes at ALE, and then my breast came in. And they said, well, that you won't fit to the costumes that we have. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do about that? So all of these types of questions about what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to do with this body? What am I supposed to do as this spiritual person that I know that I am? And none of these things that I've grown up in are answering this call. So I was on this very thirsty journey to find out what exactly did any of this mean. So when I met Gregory Ince, whose family were directors of the International African American Ballet, he brought me to one of their performances. And when I tell you, if my head could have exploded, there would have been gray matter all over the room. I could not believe. It was like life-giving affirmation that this is it. I still don't know what it is. I still have no idea what you're talking about, but something about those drums, something about these chants, something about this movement is pulling me. And so I started taking dance classes. And when I started to take the African dance classes, I started seeing people in white. Started seeing people with beads. Started hearing people speaking this very strange language. And I'm like, okay, it's nothing I ever heard before. I have no idea what's going on, but it's interesting to me. And I kept going to dance class. And after a few months, when I was very serious about it, I got possessed in dance class. Not fun.
Not in a ritual setting.
Not
in the middle of a dance class.
In the middle of a dance class, I possessed one of my ancestors. Fortunately, there were people there who were already part of this tradition that understood what was happening with me, and they gathered me and said, okay, we're gonna take you from over here and we're gonna move you over here, because evidently something's happening. And that's when I started on my path to divination, to find out exactly what was going on, because it kept happening. And of course, not being in a ritualistic space, this is not what's supposed to be going on. Although it was supposed to be going on, but not quite there. So I ended up, long story short, I did end up meeting my guides, my godparents, who eventually initiated me into the religion. And it was, again, something, someone, I think you mentioned rebirth. earlier, it was definitely a rebirth for me. And then I had to figure out, because you get a lot of information, you get a lot of instruction, and you're told, okay, your path is to do this, your path is to do that. And you're young, you have no idea really what's being told to you. And you still have to figure it out. You still, even with the information, you still have to figure out, well, how does this in turn reflect my life? What do I do with this? What is my purpose? I found that when I was growing up, I'm the youngest of 6 children. And my mother told me that I was a tumor. And if she had known that I was a baby, I might not be here. So thank you, God, that she didn't know. And I'm here. But she was much more reserved because she was so much older. And as my elder siblings tell me all the time, I got away with a lot of shit. I got away with a lot of stuff because my mom was much more laid back as an older mother. So I grew up kind of making my own mistakes. I didn't have quite the level of guidance that my elder siblings had. And so I made a lot of mistakes. I dropped out of school. I went back, but I dropped out of school. I ran away from home. I did the whole rebellious teenager thing. I mean, I was champion at that one. If they were giving awards, I would have gotten one. And so when I became a priest, I realized that part of what I didn't want was for other youth to not have guidance. That it was important that there be people that come into your life at certain times that help guide you at those critical points in your life. We talked about cycles of life from birth to death. And in between that, when that apex comes, when you hit puberty, life gets really, 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 really crazy. Can I get an ashe on that? Okay, so life gets really, really, really crazy. And fortunately, our African ancestors, our Native American ancestors, and other ancestral cultural experiences understood that when young people, when human beings reach that critical point of puberty, you have to take those crazy little people away from the rest of the world. You have to separate them. Now we got high school. So all of you high school teachers have all these little crazy people that are trying to figure out their lives, that are trying to figure out what is left, what is right, what is good, what is bad. Everybody's giving them information. Some of them are getting it, some of them are not getting anything. Everybody at that critical juncture in life needs guidance. So part of my purpose, I found, was to create this organization. I gave you all, some of you didn't get it totally, but I created this organization called Iyalaxé, which means the Society of Young Men and Young Women of Character. I'm sorry, I didn't know that you used to. Is there any left over? I don't know if there are any brochures left over. Okay. But I'll pass you. You can take this one. Okay, no problem. The program is currently not functioning because the main funder, me, is unable to support it after 15 years. We are looking for funding. But I still wanted to give you the brochure to see a little bit of what the program is about. And it's basically about mentorship. It's about giving children that actual pointed, guided mentorship, that guided direction that young people need at this stage in life. So that organization has been going on for about 15 years, 16 years now. And I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the graduates that have come through it. If you look at let me borrow this please. If you look at the very front picture, these are the 2 first graduates of the program. The young lady in the picture is my daughter. She's my eldest, and I actually started it because the program only goes up to age from 13 to 20, and she was about to turn 21. So I was like, okay, let me hurry up and get this going so that she can benefit from the program. But that guidance piece is so critical and such a critical point in my journey. But, you know, when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about, one of the things that is important to me, and kind of came to me today is that although I felt that I wasn't guided, I actually was guided. And I was guided to Orisha. I was guided to this particular system that's allowing me to be a priest, that's allowing me to sing because I sing for Orisha, I sing in sacred ceremonies. It allows me to dance because I dance in sacred ceremonies. It allows me to officiate because I'm in training to officiate ceremonies, which is a big deal for a woman in our tradition, because unfortunately we do deal with sexism as well. But I've been blessed. I've been guided. I've been taken into places, as my sister said, to places that I had no idea that I would ever go. And this has all been part of God's divine plan. And to really show you how much of a divine plan it is for me, my mom goes to church still. She's 96 years old, God bless her. And she goes to church every Sunday, but she goes to a Baptist church. And I'm like, wait, hold up. I was raised Catholic. Why are you going to a Baptist church? She said, oh, I'm Baptist. How are you Baptist, Mom? I was raised Catholic. Oh no, I only raised you Catholic so you can go to Catholic school. So when I got to Orisha, I said, oh, I've been lighting candles and praying the saints all my life. So this is not a big stretch for me. Setup is what I call it. Absolute setup. So I want to show you this video. This is a video that was created by the youth of the Iyalaxé program. It starts with a traditional song that I created, and then the youth take over. And I just wanted to share that with you.
and equality for truth, sustaining the foundation on reality and truth, maintaining the balance between your faith and the worldly pressures, knowing that your life is worth the effort, a lot more than a frat or sorority. The children of the future build a character society, similar to ants in the colony. No question will I rise on my Bible first lesson. Be a man, mistakes are made, but we'll move on. Teach it through experience, our love is strong. Now look down the line, what you see, a row full of strangers, at the end they'll be your family. Stronger each session, the bond of a lifetime is a blessing. Right now, my problem is my brother's problem. My sister will never be without. What's it all about?
No shine sem blim blim, desespero por din-din. Felicidade pode estar em cada gesto simples. Saludar, gargalhar, entender, pra apoiar. Olhar no mundo e saber aonde quer chegar.
You ain't gotta worry, cause we got the future in our hands and I'm calling you. You, true vision necessary. Give it if you need it, lend it and receive it. Spread it out to keep it. You wanna change the world? Educate a girl. You want a better plan? Make a boy a man. Right now, my problem is my brother's problem. My sister will never be without what it's all about.
Fortalece mis creencias, cosmología africana, conciencia, filosofía, unidad, mi trascendencia, un solo puño, un destino, una presencia, soldados sabios bendecidos son hermanos, un pueblo libre, liberado y consagrado, con sangre fresca, su sudor y sin pecado, camino limpio sin el peso del pasado, Agua no cae, maíz no crece, te lo juro. Entre tus manos está tu sueño, tu futuro. Sin tu esfuerzo el mundo será oscuro. Ponte de pie, abure, dale, ponte duro. En la unión está la fuerza, entendimiento. Cabildo oculto, viene cambio como el viento. Mi sacrificio siempre lleva sentimiento. Soy Obanilbe, guerrillero 100%.
When I was young, I only knew simple things. Now I can build much more. I was taught to reach for the sky, and now I know what I'm living for.
I just wanted to say I also gave out another handout. For those of you that are teachers in schools with students, these are just a few points that you might observe about the people that are in the tradition. So you can read over that. If we have time for questions later, because I don't want to take up more time, please. Okay? Thank you. Baba Tony is one of my teachers that taught me how to sing. So don't even act like you don't.
I want to give thanks to the Almighty and all of our relations. I'm very grateful to be here. Matter of fact, I'm grateful that all 38 of you.
25.
25. Okay, I counted. Well, you represent teachers that will be teaching the new generation, the generations to come beyond the millennials. We have a lot of work to do, and it's a responsibility to talk to you, to give you a sense of who we are. I'm going to try to stick to my 10-point outline because Dr. Goldsmith, he's a timekeeper. We want to respect time. Number one, I want to give you a little background of 65 years. This path all started in 1956, and I was a baby. And my father loved this album by Mongo Santa Maria called Chango. And as a little baby, he would put me by the speakers to listen to his idols, Mongo Santa Maria, an Afro-Cuban percussionist who was the percussionist for Tito Puente when he met my mother later, dancing the Manbo. And that was the image of a proud African man, Cuban, Spanish-speaking, and this thing about the drum, that was the only contact to Africa. Everybody in those days didn't want to be African at all. Let's wrap our heads around that. So here I am as a baby, and songs to the Orisha, folkloric songs, Yoruba, Umi, Congo. It brought me to an ancestral place that I didn't know existed. Fast forward, that was part of my life, by the way. Music as a baby, Latin music, Afro-Cuban, jazz, the whole nine. Then as a child, my maternal granddaughter was an espiritista in Puerto Rico, a spiritist. And through that tradition, I learned at very young that I had this spiritual gift. In 1966, I was already 11, 12 years old, and in a garage in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, a spiritual mass was being held. And my aunt was the president of the table. And ancestral spirits were passed through her. By the way, I was baptized a Roman Catholic, went through the whole Roman Catholic process, because that was a default process for all of us. In the South Bronx, St. Anthony's Church. And my aunt was a Roman Catholic, that's the default in the Caribbean. So So in Puerto Rico, a proud Roman Catholic, but on Friday night she had her Espiritista prayer session. And ancestral spirits came through and told me all the mischievous stuff I was doing in the Bronx. As a young fella, as a young guy going up in the Bronx, you're gonna do stuff, right? How did they know location, time, and all the stuff I was doing? Did that get my attention? Yes, it did. Ooh, yeah, you come to the world with a very spiritual mission. So this is your stuff you're going through, but you know better. And we're watching you, huh? So straighten up, because you're going to be a spiritual man, but not in this tradition, but very important. So straighten up. So all right, that got my attention. Fast forward to my puberty, going up in the Bronx the whole nine, even Catholic high school. But in 1975, when I was 21 years old, my musical proclivity, I wound up studying Bata drums. So the formal study of these traditions started in 1975. And that opened the way for other things to come. Ordination in the Yoruba tradition 38 years ago, and ordination in Nigeria, in Africa, in Oshobo states, they don't Oshobo to Ifa. And I was told that I would go to Ifa in Africa to reconnect. So I'm saying all this to introduce myself in context to the larger picture. We choose our head, we choose our destiny, and a lot of us come with an assignment sheet. Regardless of the religion you're baptized in. This assignment sheet is part of the work we do. Now, what is Ifa? Ifa is the enunciated vibrational sound, the word of Oloriwaa. You've heard that the power of the spoken word in most spiritual texts, you hear that. Yes, the utterance, sonic utterance of the Almighty is what Ifa is based on. That's one level of understanding. The other level is Ifa is this matrix of cosmic knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that all religions are based on. All religions, because it's primordial. Regardless of the names that we hear, the plethora of names for religion and faith traditions. So Ifa is this cosmic database, the big cloud out there that we all plug into some discipline. That's Ifa. Thirdly, it's categorized, it's cataloged in 16 major chapters, and each chapter has 16 sub-chapters. That's 256. So in our study and tradition, the universe is subdivided in 16 major chapters and 256 sub-chapters altogether. That's the matrix, X and Y coordinates. And that's what as an Ifa priest I study. Universal wisdom. Okay? And it's philosophical, it's theological, it's scientific, it's cultural, it's social, because we don't want to categorize it in a very small box. Because every priest who's ordained has a specialty. And I form a spiritual song, a spiritual singer, that's a specialty. An herbalist, a teacher, a diviner. And we don't have work that's complementary, so we're not in competition. Okay? So it's important that it's philosophical and theological. So if I had a rabbi here and I had an imam here, a reverend, a deacon, we can talk theologically. So when you hear the sensationalization and the demonization of African traditions as some ritual and ceremonial voodoo, no, we have a theology, we have a philosophy. And those who try to demonize us have a Machiavellian agenda to suppress our true nature. See? So we got to be clear of that. Okay, following my outline. Ifa has primordial origins before Mother Earth chose this planet to be her home. This Ifa Odus had talked about Mother Earth before she had a structure, went for a consultation with Ifa. He said, I want a house and I want children. She made it all. This mass was created for her, Mother Earth. The structure, Mother Earth is a spirit, Gaia, booming in the Hindu tradition. So Mother Earth is alive with her children. So from primordial times in the astral level, Ifa existed, and entities of that magnitude went for Ifa consultation, including the creator of our solar system and part of a larger galaxy. So we're talking astronomical proportions. Okay, we got the primordial origin. Let's come back to Earth here, because there's some very basic, down-to-earth insights that Ifa wants to share. From this little Oloriwaa, there's a story led by Eshu wanting to test the friendship of two farmers who were best friends, homies. So they got dressed, one half white, one half black. And he walks by both friends who are standing face to face talking, walks by. He says, you see that little guy walk by? Yeah, he's dressed all in black. No, he wasn't, he was dressed all in white. No, come on. So Oloriwaa turns around and walks the other way. You see that little guy walk by? Yeah, he was dressed all in white. No, he wasn't, just all in black. And the two best friends argue and Oloriwaa going, best friends, huh? Let's see. And they're about to, whip out the machetes and they're going to go at it. And then Oloriwaa appears like, you're best friends, huh? Look at me now. And they go, oh my God. The lessons of the story, investigate before you go to war. Can we relate to that today? Who's testing our character and saying, investigate before you go to war? Best friends. Because the cosmic trickster is out to test everybody's character. Okay. From the Odu Sawori war. Look left, look right. Let's investigate from different angles. Here's an example. Where's my teacup? Where's the teacup? What side you see it on? The right side, is that true? The right side you see it on the right side? The left side. Also, from your perspective, you see this on the left side. It's on the right side. What does that to say? If at 180 degrees we see things from different points of view, and if we move 90 degrees from the top, this is at the 3 o'clock position. We have to investigate from different points of view. We have those teachers. You gotta have a critical thinking, right? We have to see things from different points of view. Yes. Okay, moving right along. The type of work I do is divinatory. We've been given, I have to share this. You notice the eye challenge. I was classified as legally blind in 1992. I was born with an eye condition. And throughout the 65 years, I realized that, the strong white light that I'm blessed to have singes my eyes. So I'm blessed to have spiritual sight, but I pay for that. No complaint, that's what I came here to do. See? So that means a lot of our spiritual spiritual leaders, priests, and gifted people have some kind of disability on some level or another. So I'm an advocate for the disabled, and throughout so many cultures, the spirit people have to be put, they can't be totally mainstream because they're not 100% in a material sense, but in a spiritual sense, they have a lot of responsibility. So I use a divination system to help me codify cosmic knowledge into a scientific, technical, cultural, socially relatable format for people I help. I plug in to the big database. I plug into the big database with the divination system. And I work as a spiritual counselor, as a teacher, as a musician. I was on the board of the Interfaith Center. So I'm multidisciplinary, like a lot of us are multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, like a lot of you as teachers. How am I doing with time, Henry?
A couple minutes.
Don't worry.
I haven't been as good of a timekeeper today.
Don't worry.
But I do want to make sure we have some time to chat.
Okay, good. Urgent needs. Ifa, cosmic knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. What urgency is at our fingertips? We have to look at the tipping points. We have to teach our children about these tipping points that dominate the news and don't dominate the news. All right? Look what's happening in Puerto Rico right now. That's a tipping point that's been bubbling over for 500 years. And men of color being shot. I can go on, and some of it is gut-wrenching. So we have to look at the socioeconomic, socio-political tipping points and talk about them. Because in Iyalaxé, we have to be vocal about social injustice, environmental degradation, abuse of women. In Iyalaxé, who was sent to Mother Earth to what's going on down there. He saw all the horrors. Oloriwaa, the father of divination, he goes to his students for divination. I want to know what's going on here. Pestilence and war and people. Oh, you have to make a special offering, go to the woods at midnight, and it will be revealed to you what is going on. He goes midnight in the forest. It's scary. Puts the special offering by a sacred tree and was guided to sit in the bushes and watch. And who comes out as a woman, a large, very strong woman, and consumes all of the offering. And then says, you in the bush looking at me. So you want to know what the secret of this world is, don't you? You want to know why humanity is in such a predicament, don't you? And the woman is out, she's sitting in the dark, I'm hiding behind the bushes. The secret of this world is women. The secret of this world is women. Go back to society and teach your people that. Won't be a lot. Look at our the Mod Squad, our 4 congresswomen shaking up everyone. We all need to take notes. And now let's get a hand towards the left. What did I say to the people in primordial times that he got the message from? You know, the secret of this world is women, so we cannot abuse women. We have to respect our mothers. Our maternal lineages are the primary sources of wisdom for all of us. And in this culture, our maternal surname is not even included in our names. So we have to research our maternal lineage. So, as I wind up, you have a lot of work to do. Let's enjoy it. Let's have fun because, you know, the kids want to hear hip-hop and reggaeton and rap and trap and all of that. So let's not lose our relevancy, okay? Or we may be old school, or we gotta be new school with the millennials and the post-millennials, because we have to keep relevant as children, as teachers. So our students don't look at us like, oh, geez, yeah, come on, that stuff. Let's talk about the tipping points. They're sobering. I mean, this is the hottest summer I ever remember. And it goes on. So, with that, peace. Please be at peace, enjoy, and let's continue doing the good work. Ashe.
We have time. Maybe we'll stay a few minutes past 12:15, but I don't want to stay too long because we need to have lunch and then head out to Brooklyn. But we have time for some questions, and then we will make sure to save time to end with prayer. But first, questions, Sylvia.
Thank you all for being here. I have a question about the idea of initiation. Is that something that only a few are called to, or is it usual for anyone who practices over time to have some sort of calling to some kind of initiation? Does it necessarily mean that one will become a priest or have a more formal role? Like what's the range of initiation?
Or the different stages that people can be at.
Sensibility is something very important in human being. As am I speaking about that we lose this sensibility by being pushing to do different things that actually naturally the spirit is in another direction and we go a different direction. I believe my sisters and brothers with the Babas and Yaris is going to agree with that. I do believe that there is one planet Earth. I do believe there is oxygen in vitality, in the oxygen that gives us vitality. I do believe that we all have the same system inside this body, the same, no doubt. Different outside, that's our complexity, that's our, the whole system is planet. So, in my conception, it's not an answer, but it's just food to say, we all have Orisha. We all have Orisha. If you don't, I think the privilege about to have come from Africa and acknowledge this, wherever we went, wherever our ancestors placed in this planet, that makes us more connected to that. That I believe that if I don't do one in the daytime, my energy is really gonna go down because I need that. So I feel that we disconnect. I think that we all have this sensibility. If you're in an environment, I'm going to tell you this. I have it in my house. I take care of a house now, like it's called the Eyes of Oshun. Shango took me my whole life to here. If I'm gonna tell you, is a book that I'm gonna about my life. But I'm in a house of Obatala. My godfather is Obatala, and the house here is my age. I'm almost 60. It's now one of the oldest because the oldest house. It was made by 2 women, African women, that kept Candomblé alive in Bahia. In this house we pay respect, Casa Branca, Shepo Fonja, Shepo Fonja. And we are inviting you to come into a ceremony in Bahia as teachers. You never went to a ceremony. You come to Bahia for a ceremony, 25 teachers. And I will tell everybody, come in dress in white. Because, first of all, if you're going to be the 3 weeks of Obatala, or Oshala, we have to dress white. Okay, that's all there. Okay, it's Oshesi. Everybody can come in colorful, especially green. And you come the first time. And you come, you're already very curious. Look in the house, look. And see those people. Of course, you don't connect yourself to those people because we are being pushed to be distant from each other. But there is something that you want to feel there. Your sensibility into the music, into the singing, and until the moment that you see somebody be possessive for 3 hours sitting and watch a ceremony, I is already present and see. I told an European woman come all the way from Europe, got Orisha right there. So what I want to say is that we don't separate because the spirituality and the faith, the ashe, the vitality is in the air. As your sensibility, as you put yourself into, you're going to a trip that you're going to that you have the accessibility or feel something that you never felt. And now you're going to have guidance. And that I go back to the Baha. You need to have a guidance. If not, you're going to think that, oh my God, what happened with me? You pull in the floor, you get up, you don't remember anything.
If I mean, sort of piggyback on what Cecilia has said, it does start out with a question of sensibility. The fact of the matter is, any of us, all of us can be initiates. It's essentially like washing your hair, cleaning your head, and saying, okay, I'm ready to receive knowledge, I'm ready to receive wisdom, I'm ready to make a kind of submission. But there's a difference between being initiated and being a consecrated head, which is a head that is, whether it's through philosophy of divination, whether it's through dance or song, or something else that is emerging, something that's more about activism and social justice, whatever it is, whatever path had already been, that you had already determined you were going to follow. Once you decide, I'm going to make this commitment, I'm going to walk around with this bottle of water in my head every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, for the rest of my life. This bottle of water is staying on my head. I sleep, I wake up, the bottle of water is there. This is the nature of being a consecrated head. This is the nature of being a priest. And the manifestations of priesthood, whether they are, say, that you are a drummer, when you are selected as a young person, you plant the seed, you nurture, literally you plant a seed, you nurture that tree that it becomes. That tree that you eventually have to cut down, that tree that you turn into a drum, that you later are in a sacred space, a temple, it sleeps with you, it eats with you, does whatever it is that you're doing in there. That is your drum. And you carry that drum around with you, and you have a relationship with that drum. The drummers are the best examples that I could use of something that you literally are carrying around with you. And when you don't have that drum, each of us has our own heart, which is our drums, but we use, those of us who are musicians or drummers, who use our bodies as that instrument. So it is about allowing ourselves to be instrument of Voodoo, of Orisha, of the Loa, of the Nkisi. It is about making that commitment once you decide, or once it has been determined that you must now step into this role. So again, it's democratic, we can all be initiated, but we can all operate at a certain level.
And that point about decision making, everything in our tradition is based on divination. Everything. We check, there's checks and balances everywhere. So even if you're not raised in this, as I wasn't, still Orisha found me, and I found Orisha through different ways. And once I found it, then I went through the process of divination. There's initiation where you get beads. That's like a baptism. So there are steps, and the very first step is to choose someone that is going to be your guide in this tradition. That is key. That is key. What'd I say?
Key.
You have to really find someone that you mesh with, and once you find that person, and there are a lot of people now, there are priests everywhere. So, once you find that person that you gel with, that person is responsible for training you, guiding you for each step of your initiation process. Some people, not everyone is meant to be a priest. Most people are, but not everyone is. But it's up to that person who becomes your guide, your godparent, to help you determine what your steps are going to be.
Can I ask you, you made, I think, an important distinction before between, first of all, being a priest versus being a priest who has in turn initiated others.
Yes.
Right, and that's another important step. So there's a lot of people in Orisha communities who are ordained in that first stage as priests. That doesn't mean that they're all
No.
leading a house or so.
Absolutely not. Everyone, again, it's about checks and balances and divination. When you become an initiated priest, you get the Oba, the Oriate that leads your ceremony is responsible for giving you your your priesthood path. What it is that you're supposed to do as a priest. Are you supposed to initiate other people? Are you restricted from initiating other people? Are you supposed to eat salt? Are you supposed to drink? Are you not supposed to do these things? All of those things are revealed to you when you are initiated. It's an extremely important part of the whole process, and it's very reflective of who you are as a person. They say that what you bring to it, it gets bigger. So part of also what happens is that you're told what you need to do in order to realign yourself with your destiny, with what it is that you came to earth to do this particular lifetime.
You know, just to complete what
Very
he's saying.
briefly, we want to
Yeah,
have
very
time for more
briefly.
questions.
I like to add two
Yes,
words.
very briefly. 7 years ago, my mother passed away, and I went back to Bahia for the ceremony. And there was a mother for the house that I made that passed away too, and she was the one taking care of the house that I take care of. And I never would believe that my whole life transformed the way it transformed. I was called by Orisha by God. I was saying, no, we need to sit back, a daughter of Shambu in this chair, and I'm all the way there in the ceremony, they say, you come up with your life. From the moment that everything changes, so
Yeah, I'd like to contribute this. This rites of passage is initiation, is ordination. Okay? One, rites of passage. Our society, North America, needs rites of passage for young people. So you're doing great work. You are doing great work. We all know that. Young men need rites of passage as soon as that testosterone kicks in. And women do estrogen. Okay? Okay. Initiation is a step up, a little further than that, and then ordination is even further up. What ordination? We see etymology, order. Order. If one comes with a special divine gift, that has to be ordered metaphysically, or else it'll take a person out. It's like retweaking the software that you come with so that special gift could work properly. Because we've seen people very enlightened preaching on the subway, and they're out there. They're preaching, they're plugged in spiritually, but what happened? Some fuses got burned. See? So that energy has to be ordered in order for the person to be of benefit to society. So rites of passage, initiation, and then ordination. Study that and expand. Thank you.
Other questions? Bob?
Thank you for all you guys. I know you reference police make statement times. How have you all tried to counter those misrepresentations? What means have you found to be effective?
When I remember one time when I went to the emergency room, and names are extremely important, and I have diabetes, and my blood sugars were way out of control. So Oshun is the Orisha that deals with the blood system, the circulatory system, and mine was out of whack. So I get to the ER, and the doctor's name is Dr. Ade Oshun. Which means the crown of Oshun. I was like, I'm good. And when I told her, I said, my name is Adetunde, which is my Orisha name. And she said, but that's a man's name. And I said, well, I'm initiated to Owatala, which is a male Orisha, and that's why I have a male's name. Dr. Ade Oshun literally took 2 steps back from me and said, oh, we don't deal with those people. Dr. Ade Oshun. And that was the first time that I realized that the colonialization of African diasporic religions transcended so many levels, that this educated woman whose name meant the crown of Oshun aware that she carried that power. And what I did was, I went to the boss and said that you have a problem in the ER because you can't disrespect your patients. I don't care what you believe or what you don't believe. But it becomes part of your mission. It becomes part of what you do to speak about Orisha positively. We don't believe in the devil. We're not devil worshipers. There is no devil in the Orisha cosmology. It just doesn't exist. So everything that's done against us, we have to speak proudly. We have to speak like we're speaking here today, and then we all become ambassadors to make sure that all religions are respected.
Yeah, in my case, I set up an organization called ATI, the Afro-Atlantic Theologies and Treaties Institute, and I set that up based on the notion of an ATI. An ATI is not only a position, it is in the Haitian Voodoo community, it is the highest authority that exists on the land, and the title of that authority. But an ATI is that great tree in the forest, that great tree that never gets cut down, that great tree that we all seek protection and shelter for, that is, the ecology of all the community of trees is very much tied into that. So that idea of an umbrella of protection, that's why I played with the name of it, but I set up the organization so that it is very much focused on human rights. It is very much focused on eliminating Afrophobia. And Afrophobia is a very specific manifestation of racism that is violent, psychosocial, as well as sometimes physical, medical, but all the various forms of structural violence that occurs against the African person because of this irrational fear of who we are, what our cultures are, what our sensibilities are. And so through my work as an activist, working with the chairperson of an NGO committee at the UN, I actually get involved in policy-related work that is designed to fight against the kind of stigmatization that we collectively confront on a regular basis. So there's this sort of juridical and activist component to it. There's also another kind of cultural activism that I do. That and I were just part of a summit for peace and prosperity that brings African kings and queens and traditional leaders together, so that that community is interfacing and interacting more with the 21st century, the secular world, if you will. But by doing advocacy work, by speaking, by being involved in activities like this, but also going to go toe-to-toe with lawmakers is part of what is done.
I want to ask everyone, but briefly, because we're really limited on time. But yes, of course, Dr. Tony.
Yes, I'm an interfaith ambassador, and I do that generally, and with the Church of Ulukumi Babaloye. Interfaith dialogue is what I do. People with clergy of all stripes. I have two examples I think you get touched. Are you from India? Yes. I asked. My wife and I were in Kerala, India last year, and I was invited by my Ayurvedic doctor to give a presentation on whatever I wanted to give. What if we called God Mother was the presentation? What if we called God Mom instead of Father? Wow, that went over quite big in Kerala, India. The next experience there, about 2 days later, was singing to Yemaya, God is Mother, at the Arabian Sea, a beach in Shirai, Arabian Sea. In about 5 minutes, I had about 40 people dancing and singing with me. It was so universal, it was very touching. Interfaith dialogue, interfaith sharing of your tradition, you see how we are universal. So that's how we get past all this demonization and that stuff, and it works well. That's it.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned before already that just in recent years, I think there's been a real increase of the demonization and attacks on Candomblé in Brazil. That's a really important, in Brazil right now, this is a particularly hot issue.
And the thing that we say, the stronger the culture is, if we are very weak to fight and to win anything in Brazil. And then you have in Brazil, research in Brazil, and you know that our power there is really less than the African people. And the thing is that we don't want to prove anything, we want to just be. Just exist, let us be. What's the big problem? You are who you are, we know who you are. That's the big problem in this planet. Try to separate. And the separation continues. So the big responsibility, I love your word about responsibility to all of us take when we get up from the bed, is our responsibility to be who you are. So we choose to be that. To that, it is as teachers, is to really wake up the conscious.
Yes.
I can think of no better note to end, but we do want to have a few minutes for a prayer to close our conversation. Yeah.
Ancestres, Adetelo, c'est une divinité.
In the name of our illustrious ancestor, Adetelo, who is a divinity.
Dagokuno,
who is
Apesi.
his father.
J'implore nos diverses divinités Vodun.
He implores our diverse Vodun, our diverse spirits.
Les Vodun terrestres,
The spirit of the earth,
les Vodun célestes,
of the heavens,
les Vodun de la chaleur,
of heat,
les Vodun de l'eau.
of water.
Oh, les bas, Atacho,
The ground that showed.
Agono Kosu Chongoki, Mlawi. Oh, Fai Dekun, Oromila. Oh, Homen Vodun, Batu, Dudua, Mlawi. Sapata, Azamano, Dan, I do well, Umlami, Hebioso, Abonesu, Umlami, Chambu, Champana, and I talk about that way. Apetawo, avec des dossous, Sao, Manbo, Rita, Naite, Apagwe, Homeland Baby, Ogu Badabli, Ogu Natia, Ogu Bamba, Ogu Dozum, Homeland. Lisa Abadi Obe. Ganga Koku, Wete, Alete, Dodomonu, Ajaguna, Yemanja, Umlami. Oh, Umla, Azon, Abosu, Alente, Joron, Bangre, Sakra, Abosu, Nkumlami, Tamara, Nkumlami, Tamara, Nkumlami, Koku, Zambito, Krito, Nkumlami, avec différence, je vous ai appelé.
He has called on all of the Orisha, the wild and the spirits, those who we've all invoked ourselves, those who are in fact within all of you that he has felt, whose presence he has felt. So in deference to these Orisha, these wild,
Et je souhaite vivement
hopes very much
vos réponses pour le bien-être social, mental, physique, économique de chacun de nous ici présents.
So he's called on all of these spirits to bring forth our wellness, to bring goodness to us, to bring prosperity to us, economically, physically, spiritually. I think you understood all the all the so in all that space that he calls on spirit to grant us goodness.
Pour ceux qui doivent arriver, c'est qui ne sont pas arrivés et qui sont ailleurs.
And for those who should have been here are not here, and they are on the outside.
Pour toute l'humanité.
For all of humanity.
Pour nos enfants.
For our children.
Et à tous ceux qui sont chers autour de nous.
And to all those who are precious to each and every single one of us.
Je vous appelle pour que vous nous graciez de vos lumières.
We call on Spirit to grace us with their light.
Comme la boussole de nos vies. Graciez-nous de vos lumières comme la boussole de nos vies. La boussole. Oui, qui oriente nos vies.
Sometimes translate exactly the thing. But basically, he's asked that Spirit essentially shine and radiate their light on us, like the sun, in our lives.
Baillez-nous
to bathe us
de vos énergies positives
with their positive energy,
pour que chacun de nous puisse se retrouver
so that each and every single one of us
très en
find
forme
ourselves
chaque jour.
in better shape and better condition every day.
Plongez-nous dans vos vibrations positives
Plunge us, immerse us in your positive energy,
pour que nos étudiants,
so that our students,
nos disciples,
our disciples,
tous ceux qui sont autour de nous,
all that, those who are around us,
puissent avoir de mémoire fertile, féconde,
would have a fertile and fecund memory,
pour que leur avenir
so that their future
soit bien assuré,
is ensured, is guaranteed,
qu'ils soient comptés
so that they are counted on
demain
and seen in
dans le futur,
tomorrow and in the future,
dans les grands savants
Among those who are best known, the wisest.
Dans les grands intellectuels,
Among the greatest of
dans les
intellectuals.
grands médecins,
The greatest doctors.
dans tous ceux qui orientent et
Among all of those who orient
et donne une vie active.
and direct us towards a more active, a more fulfilling life.
Que nous soyons fiers et heureux
So that we might be proud and happy
de les avoir appelés ce jour.
that we might be proud and happy to see and call on our children on that day.
Et que ce que nous fabriquons comme esprit puisse répondre favorablement.
And so that all that we call on in terms of spirit respond to us favorably.
Maintenant, ce que nous allons dire, ils vont prononcer à la suite. Ache.
And what we're about to say, that asks that you respond with the words Ashe. So that we need to make it manifest that we
Nami Alidabe.
Ashe.
Nami Wezizadabe.
Ashe.
Nami Nyonadabe.
Ashe.
Nami Ankazadabe.
Ashe.
Nami Fenudabe.
Ashe.
Nami Jedabe.
Ashe.
Nami Jidodabe.
Ashe.
Ali, c'est un bon chemin.
Ali is a good road.
Weziza, ça c'est la luminosité, la lumière, l'éclairage que nous devons avoir autour de nous.
It's light, it's luminosity, it's the clarity that we need to move forward.
Nona, c'est le bonheur auquel nous aspirons.
Nona is the wellness, the goodness that we aspire towards.
Agbaza, la santé.
Agbaza
La santé.
is wellness, the physical wellness of the body.
Fenu, c'est la promotion que nous désirons chacun.
Fenu is the goodness that we wish for each of us.
Jed,
Jed
c'est la richesse
is richness
à laquelle nous aspirons aussi.
that we also strive for.
Didon,
Jido
ça c'est la longévité.
is longevity.
La longévité, non pas dans la tristesse,
Longevity, not in sadness, longevity in
non pas dans la misère,
not to be in misery,
non pas dans la pauvreté,
not to be in poverty.
que la cohésion sociale soit générale et embrase le monde.
And then we seek longevity so that we can have social cohesion and embrace all of us, bring us together in unity.
Que la paix royale